Welcome to Strength Hammer, episode 102. Wait, are we both repping the Rascal today?
We are repping Rascal. Look at
Rascal
that.
Apparel. I mean, you have more follows on Instagram, so they might pay attention to you. But I will tag Rascal Apparel because they make the coolest shirts for the gym. They're comfy
They
as
really
hell.
do.
Love it, and they should sponsor Alex individually and this podcast together.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, they only have 4 times more followers than me, so it's not like a huge amount.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, to be fair, I would rather have lift heavy, be kind. I love the short shorts.
Well, apparently Rascal has pretty small shorts as well.
Do they?
Yeah, they might be. I'm not sure if they are form fitting or they actually other short shorts.
What I like about
It's
the
one of them.
lift heavy, be kind is they have like the built-in underwear. Essentially,
That sounds
it's
nice.
the best summer wear. Well, maybe. Well, either I'll order a Rascal shorts, or they could be kind enough to send a single pair of shorts for review on the podcast. Free sponsorship. Yeah, just send me free merch. I don't need money. I just need me free merch.
My legs are small. I don't wear anything that doesn't cover my 90% of my legs most of the time.
So, if you're out there and you go to the gym, all right, this. If you are not a gym person, the next 30 seconds you're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know when my legs feel the most jacked? So every night, I prefer to sleep in the nude. So before bed, I'll be laying on the bed, lights off, TV's on, so the glow's coming from the front of the TV. My base is like 80-inch TV, watching some retro video game stuff, and I'm just laying on top of the covers, just in the buff, and just like the way the light hits. Man, my legs look so good. I'm like, I could take a picture of this. My legs look so jacked, but everything's out, so I can't take that picture. It's just kind of like, man, I look jacked as hell, and I can't tell anybody except for my wife.
We've been friends for a long time now, and I've learned something new about you today. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I look the most jacked laying down. Yeah, you've never known that. You never knew that
Oh,
before.
yeah, and well, yeah, and the fact that you sleep in the nude, I did not know that.
Okay, once you become regularly over 200 pounds, Alex, you're gonna be like, clothes. I
Too
don't
hot.
want them. They're awful. As soon as I can take these
That's
off,
what
I
I'm too.
do. Except for the Rascal brand because it's so nice and comfy. Please sponsor us.
Hey, yeah.
Anyway, Alex, this is episode 102 of the Strength Hammer podcast. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great, man.
Good.
So good. Busy day. You know, we'll talk about fitness and hobby and all that, but pretty solid week overall. I would rate it 7.5 out of 10. How about yourself?
Oh my goodness. Well, I just realized my mic was all. I don't know why. My mic just turns itself down. I just turned it up. So if it was a little bit quiet there at the start, it's probably way too loud now. So sorry. Um, I don't know why it does that. It's probably Windows 11. My week, it's been a good week. Today was incredibly hectic.
Hmm.
Just from work, it was just nonstop. It's good. I have that new role, which by the way, this weekend is actually the U.S. Open Tacoma, which I normally get to. I was invited to go be one of the judges. I had to pull out because of this new position because I wanted to really get focused on that. Which I mean, they understood, so
Yeah,
and they'll be
yeah.
fine. There's an all-star team. Um, James O'Brien and Gareth Thomas over there are going to run the best Age of Sigmar event, fourth edition you have seen to date, guaranteed. Um, I don't doubt it. It's going to be great with them. So
Wait, yeah, like you're saying you have real life in addition to your hobby and nerdom?
listen, I know it's interesting. It's very different. I look at you and other people's Instagrams. It has these big followings, and I know you're very like one-dimensional people. You have one to two things at most you talk about. But if you come look it over at the Strength Hammer social medias, you'll see whatever the fuck I feel like doing. Which
Don't ever expect consistency,
for me, no.
except that it's not consistent.
Yeah, my consistency is I'm just being me. Um, yeah, but like also it's the same thing. I'm not really offering anything to people, so you don't have to follow me. I just do it because that's what I like posting. And if you enjoy it, great. But if you want to follow somebody who does offer value to your life, other than just hee hee, that's cool. Follow people like FitHammer. Follow people like Ben Mudge, Josh Taylor Coaching, Vanguard Tactics. All great people that can actually give you value to your life if that's what you're seeking. If you want nonsense, we're here.
Who's your guy?
Yeah. Also, like and subscribe on this YouTube channel because I kind of want to push for 1,000 subs just to hit that milestone.
We got it. We got it.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But My week's going good. Alex, your week sounds to be going good. More importantly, what the viewers want. We had some rain last night.
A little bit.
Kind of a lot, yeah, actually.
Yeah. Well,
How's your lawn?
it's still dry. I know we had a bit of rain, but I haven't had to. It's pretty boring. I did not have to cut it or do anything to it since last time we talked.
I, yeah, same here. It's not. My grass didn't really turn brown. I have lots of shade and everything, so. But it's the rain did work, but it's helping the garden more than anything else. So yeah, the lawn's still pretty boring, but the garden's picked up.
Yeah.
I could tell the plants were really excited this morning to have cool weather and water.
Yeah. Good.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll say the lawn update is about as exciting as my hobby update.
Well, hobby update comes at the end, but there's some excitement. You got some hobby coming up
There-
there.
there's something to look forward to. Yeah. Sure.
There's. Um, Actually, I have some hobby coming up too. It's kind of out of nowhere. But let's talk about the fitness end of the Strength Hammer podcast. So, Alex, I don't know if you have it handy, but something recently came out.
Something did recently come out. Yeah. Oh wow, they can see it so well.
Oh my gosh, look at that! Yeah, there we
It's
go.
like a magic reveal. Look at that.
Yeah, I would like to thank myself for working the hours to buy that because no one sent it to me. Sorry, I just calling out the lack of sponsorships. It's funny to me, but
I see what you mean.
yeah. I'd like to thank me for working to feed myself and buy miniatures. So, as we talked about before the show, what do we have planned for the folks today for the strength?
Yeah, man. The big rift that's happening in the world of the mortal realms is the Skaven tide is emerging and invading the realm of Akshi, right?
Well, it's invading everywhere, but actually is the center focus point of the Skaven Blight emerging into the mortal realms.
That's right. So we have a big conflict between basically Skaven and everybody else, but the primary conflict is between the Sigmar, the fake god, and the Great Horned Rat, the true owner of the mortal realms.
He's not new to the Pantheon game at all. He's been here forever.
He's been there the whole time. Yeah, he's been the original Chaos God, if anything.
It's true. He's. I mean, Skaven have changed the most out of all the Chaos entities out there.
For sure.
I'll give it that. I'll give that. Okay, so with that battle going on, you and I each have chosen sides. There's no doubt. I am the mighty Stormcast for Stormcast Strong, and you've chosen the opposite side.
Yes. The mighty Gym Rats.
The mighty Gym Rats. This is writing its fucking self, Alex. Okay, so we're gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna create the ultimate Stormcast workout routine, day at the gym. So a Stormcast themed workout, and you're gonna make the Skavenist themed workout.
The Skavenist themed, and we're doing this on the spot. I have not thought about it.
Not at all.
To be fair, I have an idea of what I would make in a Stormcast workout. I have no idea what a rat workout would be besides just like steroids and just the absolute craziest novel workouts.
Actually, see, I have the opposite. I'm like, Stormcast feels like it's boring, and I'm like, I have ideas for Skaven really hard right now. Okay, all right. We'll maybe talk about what we think about the opposite afterwards.
Sure.
So I'll kick it off for Stormcast.
Sure.
So Stormcast are the defenders of humanity. They are the pillars that all of this has really relied upon. Like, Chaos was winning when Sigmar pulled away until he saw the vision for the Stormcast Eternals. They're not skipping leg day.
Oh yeah, no way.
So you are starting your Stormcast workout with heavy ass squats. At least a solid 800 pounds of heavy ass weight. It's lightweight, baby.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
Actually, do I still have Ronnie Coleman's picture here? Do I? Nope, I don't think I do. Never mind. I was going to flash it up. But anyway. I'm heavy squats. That's how you're starting to work out. You're going to go in and you're going to hit it as hard as possible and hang on.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, you need to march into the mortal realms. You need to, when the lightning drops you need to have strong legs and strong core to not break as you fall. So that makes sense. Superhero landing, right?
Yep.
All right. Skaven, What are Skaven known for? What are they known for?
Cardio.
They're known for running. They're running away, they're fleeing, they're backstabbing. So they are going to start their workouts with running. I don't know for how long, maybe till failure, but they're going to run because those legs better be moving because everything is a threat, even your own mates.
It's fair. I like it. No, that's good. How many miles you running to start?
I think the it depends on who you are as a rat. I think if we're talking about a regular old clan rat, you're running a mile. If you are a storm vermin, you're running 2 to 3 miles.
Okay.
If you're a red ogre, you're running like about 10 miles.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so
Yeah,
mileage will vary based upon your apparently your body size. The heavier you are, the more you're running. Skaven logic.
absolutely. Skaven logic makes sense.
Gotcha. So Stormcast. So okay, we got the strong legs. We are good. Did the superhero landing. Well, as you stand up after landing in Mortal Realms, you better have strong arms to pick up that hammer and shield to defend humanity and defend the Mortal Realms. So it's maybe cheating. You can call me out on this, and I'll accept it. But it's my show, so I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
You're going to do a superset, all right, of just standing bicep hammer curls, followed by tricep kickbacks, and you use that same weight. You just go into it and back out to it. Rest. You do that. I'd say 3 sets of 15 to 20 with a moderate to heavy weight.
I like it.
Yeah, you want to make sure.
Great.
Yeah, the weight, heavy weight, but you want to be able to keep good form up until the last rep. But you don't want nothing left in the tank when you're done with that set.
Very good. I like it a lot. This is the Skaven workout. Despite my love for the rats, I would probably never actually do this workout myself. But here's what they would do. Skaven are not known for their mass. They're known for their scrawniness, and they almost have like very tendony, very dense, but very small muscle, right? Almost like calisthenics style, right? So the next thing a Skaven would do pull-ups, superset with push-ups.
Ooh,
And
okay.
they would do because it's very different muscles involved, right? And I would do 3 sets, both to failure. So you do pull-ups to failure, and you do push-ups to failure. If it's a weaker rat and it needs assistance, and you do assisted pull-ups, I would do probably 10 to 14 reps.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yep.
All right. Stormcast. Well, what we're doing with the Stormcast, you can't truly be a defender of your fellow man unless you have the most massive chest possible. I'm talking poorly drawn, anatomical Captain America buff chest. That's what you need.
Absolutely.
So you are hitting that bench press, and you are hitting it hard. Just flat bench. You don't need to. Don't worry about the uppers or the lowers. If you just do enough of the just the standard bench press, eventually that part's going to wear out, and then you just use the other parts of the chest to keep going. So you're doing 3 sets to failure of 65% of your max.
Very good. Very good indeed. All right. Next thing I would do for a true rat, besides running away, what are rats known for?
Ooh, protein farts.
No, backstabbing.
Oh.
What is the best way to ensure survival after backstabbing? A bigger back.
Ooh, I like it.
The next thing a rat would do good old-fashioned heavy barbell rows. They don't care about chest. They have a shield in front of them. But the back, they don't have a shield in the back against your fellow rat that has been jealous of your achievements and of your extra rations of cheese. So you better work on your back to protect it. So I would do barbell rows, heavy, 3 sets, 6 to 8 reps.
Gotcha. I like it. So I'm torn on the next one, Alex.
Okay.
I'm going to present both options. I'll let you help me guide me on this one, because you are a Stormcast strong individual.
Fair enough.
I'm torn because I'd like to do some overhead pressing. You just got to get some shoulder work in there. That's always useful. But I think this might be chamber dependent. If you are one of the core warrior chamber, maybe that the new chamber, reclusium. I forget what the new one's called. It's not in my head yet. If you're one of those core, like, I'm here for business type chambers, you're doing the overhead pressing.
Absolutely. Traditional military press, barbell, heavy.
Yeah, just boom, boom, and you just knock it out. You just do 3 sets of 8. With moderate to heavyweight, you knock it out. But if you're one of those fancier ones, maybe one of the ones that may have gotten put into Legends, or maybe the one of the ones that likes to run, cast, whatever have you. You got to show off. You got to let these other people in the gym know what you're about. You are stripping that top breastplate off that you've been wearing for this whole workout, because you're wearing full armor.
Yeah, of course.
And you are doing calisthenic, smooth as butter muscle ups like you're not even trying, and you just do as many as you can for a set, and you just stare at everybody's eyes as you're doing it. You just like let them know that this is not a hard work for you. You're doing this because you feel like it, not because you have to.
Fair enough. I could see some chambers doing it.
Yeah, some the ones that are there for flash, not the ones that are there for work.
Right. The ones that they're showing that they are better and superior to you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I could see that. See that. Okay, I'll give it to you. But I would say the double one, I would see most chambers probably would be military pressing, traditional heavy.
Most would.
Big round shoulders. All right, so now I am thinking, so we did cardio, we did pull-ups and push-ups, we did a big back. We're not doing a whole lot of legs for our running away yet. We did cardio, but we're not being explosive. So I would say I would want my rats to do some farmer carries.
Ooh, okay.
I would want them to do a relatively light farmer carries, but for much more steps. So I'd probably do a 200 to 300 step farmer's carry, maybe 3 to 4 sets of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Running away after your loss, after your tactical loss, right? You didn't lose, you lost on purpose, so you can come back and fight again and backstab your opponent. But I'll probably do some farmer carries for your endurance in battle.
Yeah, well, when you're running away, you don't want to drop that shield and weapon that you have, or that you picked off that was better, that your opponent somehow died in front of you. Yeah,
right.
You got to hold that loot. That makes sense. I can see that.
Yes.
Well, for the last one, everyone's doing this. Every chamber. There's no separation here. But you need some assistance. Okay, it's you and a barbell and a lot of weight, and you need I forget what the humans on the side of the that accompany some of these stormcasts to help remember who they are. You get a couple of those. Okay. So you start with just 135 on the bar on the ground.
Sure.
And you do a squat clean with it. Pick it up off the ground, squat, clean, down. Okay? Add 2 more 45s. You keep doing that until you can't get it up. And like I said, and eventually you can't do the clean, so you eventually just do the squat. And then once you can't do the squat, you just turn it into deadlifts until you can only do your 1 rep max.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just one set of that. It's one set of that.
Okay, I could see that.
Well, listen, much like the Skaven, they need a big back. So do Stormcast, because there is so much responsibility on them. Like, you have a god going, I gave you my power.
Of the mortal realms on their shoulders and back. So yeah, big shoulders, big back, makes sense.
So.
Cool. Very good. I like that a lot. That's your line of thinking is pretty much the way I would think about Stormcast as well. That's very good.
Well, I mean, the last one too. The last workout, that's the one you put on the Instagram reel, but you do that one for the gram.
Right, for sure. All right. So for the rats, I think the last thing I would do, when I think of a rat, I think about a very lean, but very, very, very muscular. Everything is popping. So I would want to throw some kind of a core movement in there as well.
I was waiting for you to say, like, just do Murph. They do Murph at the end.
Just do Murph. I mean, pretty much, honestly. However, I would want to see some core movement, but that still needs to be functional and actually help them out in battle somehow. So I would want them to do cable or band wood jumps.
Ooh.
It's not only will that improve their core, it will also help them to steal things after the battle is over from their dead enemies' bodies. Yes.
That's very true. Like, as they're running away, you got to twist and turn to pick up that loot without breaking stride.
Absolutely. So I would do cable wood chops. I would do 3 sets, high reps, probably 12 to 18 reps, and then I would do one more, as many reps as possible at about 70% of the working weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really good. I like this. I like this a lot. So, Alex, let's both mention at least one thing that we think the other forgot about with their workout.
Okay.
I have mine. Excuse me, if you need me to go first, unless you have yours.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Before the Skaven hits the gym, okay, it's taking its creatine, its protein powder, and all of its pre-workout, which,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's all dyed green. Let's just be honest with it. And just getting a long line and just snorting it all up. Just boom, run that line. Get it all in all at once, right to the brain. That's what I needed. They need the protein in the brain. That's that's the thing I think Skaven were missing the whole time here.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you there. And I would say Skaven do not take breaks from caffeine. Their caffeine addiction just keeps going higher.
Okay.
Like they start at 100, then go 200, 300, 400, and eventually they just get to a point where you do 1,000, 1,500 milligrams every single day, and they're just going to die 10 years younger. But they're going to keep increasing their caffeine to get that high.
That makes sense. 100%.
Yes.
What did I miss for Stormcast?
So in the same round, I'm not going to say an exercise or a workout. I'm going to say a type of training. I would say a Stormcast is going to be either a full-on power lifter,
okay,
where they take 5-10 minute nap breaks between their sets,
fair,
or there'll be a full-on bodybuilder where they are extremely precise with tracking every workout and making sure they're disciplined, consistent, and getting stronger and getting gains every single time they work out.
I would say that's not even chamber dependent. I'd say that's more like sub-faction dependent. Like the Hammers of Sigmar, they'd care a lot, whereas the ones from Anvil Guard, drawing a blank on their name, they wouldn't care. They'd be powerlifters.
Right.
I see that.
Maybe even unit dependent, right? Because like maybe prosecutors would be much more disciplined and make sure you're getting stronger and faster every time. But something like retributors or some of the staunchy, very tough guys would be much more powerlifter focused.
Nice, I like it. I do think the Selzen Prime would take off his helmet. It would be Ronnie Coleman underneath there.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And he's like, "You should all be bodybuilders. What are you doing?"
He swings Golmaraz.
Oh, Golmaraz is super lightweight. Nice. Okay, well, if you're at home, I wouldn't recommend trying any of these.
No, this is not a good workout.
No.
The Stormcast workout is brutal.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fatiguing movements in one day.
Yep.
And the Skaven workout is not good. Like I would probably
say if you have lightning in your veins, go ahead and tackle the Stormcast one.
Right. No, but the Skaven one is so inefficient. Like I would probably. There's basically no legs if you're doing a full body workout. It's not horrible, but I would not do that workout. Yeah. But it is fun.
I would try the Stormcast but it's not going to feel super good, and it's not going to be as heavy as I think it will be.
By the time you get to the movement 3 or 4, you'll be so fatigued. But it could be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It could be a fun day. So yeah, and if you're at home, let us know your favorite faction and give us your 5 movements for your solid workout for that faction. Like whether it's K-Knight CrossFit or Dwarf Strongman. There we go.
Yeah. I don't know enough about CrossFit. Otherwise, I would have given Rats a CrossFit workout. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I could see them doing a CrossFit workout. Actually, man, I was doing spring cleaning right now, and I pulled out like all my old I was getting old clothes and stuff, a bunch of old CrossFit shirts, and it was like, okay, I kept a few, but like I have to say this real quick, and I should have had one on. I also had some of my old nerdy like Warcraft shirts. So in college, early college when I was playing that, I could wear a small because I was never like overweight, so I could wear a small and it looked good, like tight, or I'd wear a medium to be comfortable.
I'm surprised. Okay.
I put on that shirt now, and it's just like was like what's up?
Ripping.
Yeah, my wife liked it. She's like, damn, that shows off your pecs nicely. I'm like, that's great, but like, oh my god, I can't like move in this thing. So, if you need a way to remember how you're growing, so if you're a smaller person and you want to remember how much muscle you've gained without realizing it, save one of those old shirts back in the closet and put it on like years later, and you'll be like, oh damn, I'm big.
Damn. And it happens, I think, especially with men and with women too. But as your journey progresses and you put on more healthy mass, shoulders,
Yes.
arms, chest, things just don't fit the same. It's almost never like the stomach area. I mean, sure, maybe sometimes, but it's almost never the stomach. It's like everything just fills out here.
Yeah, and it's why you wear Rascal. Please send us free stuff.
Yes. I think this is a large or extra large, actually.
Mine's a large. I think you might have got an extra large for extra comfort. You like the baggier clothes than I do.
Yeah. I like baggy clothes.
Yeah.
Makes me look bigger sometimes than I actually am.
Well, it's room to grow.
It's exactly. I want to fill them in.
It's like a fish. You put a fish in a thing, it's going to grow to the size. You get bigger clothes. It's a bigger fish bowl. You're a fish, Alex. That's what we're doing.
I'm a fish. I don't know.
Yes. All right. Well, with that out of the way, Alex, a couple things of hobby, and I'm going to talk a little bit of hobby here with you, and I'll talk more with Neil.
That's great.
So, upcoming.
Yes.
You and I have a game literally tomorrow night after recording this.
The beautiful game.
So we are playing our first game of Age of Sigmar 4.0.
Very true. I'm very excited for it.
Yes, it's more impactful for you at this time because what do you have going on literally the next 2 days after?
Yes, so I signed up for a Warhammer tournament. Our common friend Ben, two Bens involved.
Yes.
One Ben runs the event, and then our other friend Ben is going to the tournament. He invited both of us to go. Unfortunately, Chuck can't make it.
Yeah.
At least for the whole event. But I was like, yeah, heck yeah, new edition. Nobody's going to know what they're doing. It literally just dropped a week ago. It's going to be a good time. So it's going to be a good way to break in the new edition, play 5 games of AoS 4. And it's going to be an event in Pittsburgh, run in a Fabricator's Forge store. It's a great store. Been there a couple times. So that's what we're doing. And I think I said last time that I'm going to bring halflings.
And paint 17 models?
Yeah. Building can bash 17 models.
Yeah. How's that going?
But then I got the Skaven Tide box, and I couldn't. I could not bring halflings. I could not.
I know. It's like, I'm not really excited. Sorry, and I don't mean to pause you in this.
You're good.
I will paint some of the Stormcast in here. I'm not really a Skaven person, but when you get a big box like this, there's part of me going, what if I just painted like a few Skaven, Alex? Let's just see what happens, Like it's hard not to.
It's a 1,000-point army. Just a 1,000-point army.
Well, there's a spearhead in here.
Yeah, what's just one spearhead?
Exactly. But anyway, sorry.
But yeah, so I made a list, and man, when I'm telling you, I spent probably 4 hours total list building. First of all, super fun.
I like list building better in this game than I did in 3.0 because I don't like formations. I like the regiment system, not that. It's pretty nice.
Yes. I love the regiments because the battle lines are gone, basically. Like, there's no need for so many heroes, I love that a lot.
Yeah, yep.
I like the regiments or whatever they're called. So list building was very different. It felt very different than traditional AoS. And it was almost like, wait, I don't need clan reps for battle line? I don't need those things? And at the same time, there were so many options. Like, I kept changing the list. Even today, list submission is today. And even today, I spent 2 hours just changing my list and updating it. But anyway, so I came down to a point where I only have to build and paint one model. And I'm going to build it and prime it tonight and paint it tomorrow.
Nice. That sounds like a good time.
It's not bad. It's going to be easy. It's not a huge model. It's a Skaven Wart Blaster, which is very fun. It's very fun. It looks great on paper. I think what's going to happen actually is it's going to shoot once and explode.
Yes.
But on paper, it has 6d6 shots, which is very fun.
That's not bad. That could be really good. I like it. I've been getting some other hobby too that I'll talk about with Neil, but just in general, like, I'm excited tomorrow that we get our first game of AoS 4.0. Have we decided, are we playing your house or my house?
We have not decided. We'll talk about it
later. I will Yeah, I'll be bringing my Daughters of Cain.
Of course.
Are we doing 1,000 points? Yeah, I guess you want to do 2,000.
It's okay.
Even if we don't finish the game.
We're just gonna have to finish the game.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just see how it goes. But I'm excited to pull out the Daughters of Cain with the list I have.
Yes.
Very similar to what I used to run. Some minor different, like one or two minor differences. There's more Doomfires now because Doomfires are good.
Really? How many bodies do you have? How many Witch Elves?
I have 2 units of 20 and 2 units of 10.
Okay, so that's a little less than you usually would run.
It is. The Cauldrons have gone up in price, but like I said, there's Doomfires there. I get the Manifestation, so like, I have other chaff to mix in, and this won't be like my final list ever. I think this is just going to be what I want to try.
I like it.
But yeah, other than that, like I said, I have finally peered through my box.
Ooh.
Also, I forgot to show you. That's buried. Never mind. My pre-order bonus was actually not tokens like yours were. Mine were
really?
actually objective markers. One side Scave and one side Stormcast.
Very good.
Yeah.
So yours is more fun to like have at home, right? And mine would be more fun to like to take it to a tournament.
Exactly. Perfect. But like I keep looking at this and I'm excited. Like I have Bretonnians and stuff going on, but I'm like, man, when am I going to start this project?
And every model, like with this set, and like we're not sponsored to talk about this set, but
no.
Remember,
I'm a paid shill.
That's true. That's true.
There you go.
W, if you're listening, if you are one of 30 people listening to this podcast, I've convinced probably like 20 people to buy your great box set because I am truly convinced that this is probably the best AoS box set.
For value and just scope of models, I'd 100% agree.
Like every model is a new model, and every model is sharp. There's not a single model I don't like, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, like I have looked at the Scave and going, what if I just keep them? I've always appreciated Skaven and played against them, but never had the urge to be like, just maybe try it.
Yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, it's good. Okay, well, we will when we record for episode 103, we'll do a little bit longer of an episode with the first half to hear about your journey at the tournament because I'd be curious to see that.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen. I made a list that looks fun that allows me to bring some things that I like, but we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm bummed I can't make it because one I wish I was at Tacoma US Open, so I could be seeing all these great people play Age of Sigmar 4.0. 2, I wish I could have gone to this tournament, but as chance would have it, whenever I pulled out of Tacoma to focus on my new role to get that really locked down, a friend from college with a bunch of mutuals, years ago, he just randomly moved to North Carolina and decided not to tell us until like after he was gone. He's back in town, so one of the mutuals that we know is throwing a party, so Saturday I'll be there to say hi to him and see how he's been doing. Because it's probably been a decade.
Yeah, that's more important.
Yeah, so all good reasons not to, but I'm going to try and stop up there Sunday. But yeah, I'm excited. And then if you're listening to this now, which you are because we're in your ear hole, you'll get to see some lawn and hobby from me and Neil. And I'll tell you about the game that Alex and I had played in full detail. And then Neil has had some Age of Sigmar 4th edition games too. So we're just going to talk about those games and like what we feel about 4th edition. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Very good. I like it. 4th edition looks very promising. I am as excited to play AoS as I've ever been.
Except for Battle Tactics.
They're still there. Still
don't like them.
Yeah, they did not remove them. But overall, looks great.
Yeah, actually. Anyway, enough harping on that. Everybody, I will see you on the other side with Neil. Give us one more flex. All right. Now for the core of this, the backbone, the spine of this entire podcast, the one, the only Neil.
Cheers. It's coffee talk this morning.
It is. We had a slight pushback on our recording time, so this, as you're all aware, this podcast is coming out a little bit later than usual. So we're recording this Saturday morning, the day that I'll get this episode out, actually. The Dwarf release day, actually, or pre-order day. Uh-huh. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. But yeah, I forgot how much I like the coffee podcast talks in the morning.
Yeah. So now I can be tired in the morning instead of tired at night.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because I've been adjusting like recording with Alex. So my new role at work is, as I've said multiple times, is keeping me busier and actually making me work 8 hours a day, which is just the worst. But
Yeah.
but I told him, I was like, hey, it is gonna be a pain. Can we start to try to record either before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m.? And I'm kind of hoping he wants to do some morning ones because I just like the morning chat. I feel more cognitively aware in the morning as opposed to late at night when I've had all the stuff from the day mixed up in there.
Sure. Understandable.
It's fair. But Neil, it's good to talk to you. I do have to ask the all-important question because we've had rain. How's your lawn?
It's a train wreck. I mowed the front a while back, and I have not touched the back, and the back is going to get done today.
There you go. I'm starting to see the crabgrass in mine from the rain we just got. It's not enough to make me want to cut it yet, thankfully. But there's more rain coming this week, so I think tomorrow might be a mow day or Monday at the latest. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But other than that, we've had some hobby time going on. Neil, you shared some lovely pictures with me here. I got one I'll bring up here on screen. That's a lovely looking hobby space you got there now.
Yeah, it's just more for like I'm trying to get it off into the corner so my kids can have some portion of this basement, which has been mine for the last, 3 years.
Yeah,
that's fair. I wonder if they come down here and they never clean it and I clean it, then it's mine. And it did become mine for many, many years. And it was my Warhammer mecca. So now I'm off in a corner here a little bit. And I don't know, it'll be kind of nice. We're going to set up a ping pong table for the kids, which will also work as a Warhammer table in the meantime.
Sure. Yeah, it'll suffice. Did you get rid of your big table, or do you still have that down there?
I'm going to collapse it unless I need it. So,
fair. Gotcha.
Yeah, so if people are coming over or whatever, I'll put it back up, and it's just a couple screws. So
that's easy enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks good. It's organized. It's nice. I do have to ask, are the Lego sets just yours now? Kids have outgrown them. They're that
the kids
stage.
Don't touch them anymore. So I haven't completely smashed them to bits. But I need to they need to get rebuilt, and then the stuff the kids don't want sold off. But
fair. Actually,
I mean, some of these pirate Lego sets, by the way, are
mint condition
from the 90s.
Yep.
And worth a lot of money.
That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that pirate ship in there, but yeah, I have so many Legos, and it's just full of a duffel bag. I still get Legos every year though. For Christmas, everybody has to get a toy, so my toy is always a small Star Wars Lego set. I love it.
Nice. They just came out with a Lego set of Jaws.
Oh, did they?
I don't know what. For it's Jaws on the boat. At the end of the guy sliding down in it. I wouldn't mind having that. That's pretty sweet.
That's good. It's the Legend of Zelda one that came out recently with the Great Deku Tree. Boy, I saw that. I'm like, that'd be great, but I never spent enough money on plastic in my life. So
right.
And I only have one Lego. No, I have two Lego sets that I actually keep out. One is it's the ship from, if you ever played the Star Wars MMO, the Old Republic. It's the ship.
I know of it.
Yeah, I played a Sith warrior, a light side Sith warrior, but it's his ship, and I just thought it's the coolest Empire ship I've ever seen because it's take a TIE fighter, mix it with the Millennium Falcon. So I love it. So that's on my desk, and then also the very first Lego set I ever had, which was the old space Legos. It's like this big. It's a Blacktron guy and this little scooter thing. That always stays out. That thing is.
We had lots of Blacktron stuff. It was my younger brother who had it, but yeah.
I was more of the ice crew. I had most of their ships, but that Blacktron was the first Lego I ever had.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, the ice ones. That was me.
I go back to original space, NASA space Legos.
Oh, nice.
When there was a theme.
That's cool.
Yeah. Apologies to everybody, by the way. I'm fighting a little bit of something. I will try to hit the mute button as often as I can if I do have to cough. So, fair warning.
Or if you want to play a fun drinking game, have a sip every time Neil coughs.
There you go. I'm going to put my mouse on the mute button right now. There you go.
I also couldn't help but notice that I still see some empty space on those shelves. I assume you have books or something maybe to fill it up with, or is that room to grow armies?
So Well, yes. So there's you probably saw a couple of orc wyverns. Those are done.
Yep.
The rest of the army is, well, I'd say half done and enough, well enough to play 2,000 points.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a new thing with the exception of my high elves up here, which are going to be painted for our Tale of Four Warlords,
Yep.
where it doesn't go on the shelf unless it's painted.
Ooh.
We don't let unpainted models be on the shelf.
No,
They don't get a place yet. They're waiting, because these are display shelves, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, there are about 3 slots right here for additional armies. So those will be coming at some point in the future. I don't know what they will be, but
no,
yeah.
That's a great rule of thumb. Back when I had a more modest collection, it wasn't insane, and I've spent too much money. We'd have a curio cabinet upstairs, and there was 2 shelves, and I would put my high elves on one, and then I was building my Daughters of Cain on the other. That quickly ran out of room, but I was the same rule: only painted things go on this shelf, no exceptions.
Yeah.
I don't need to show off gray plastic. You can have gray plastic, but like you put that in the hobby space. You got to work on that, get that done.
Yeah. Or prime plastic or any of that kind of stuff. That's just like I've got this Horde army up here, and it's like, I don't know. At this point in Age of Sigmar 4, I'm pretty sure that's like 20,000 points of Age of Sigmar 4.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I've got one guy that's not painted. One. And I'm like, you're not going up there, man. He's half painted. He's but he's not going up there.
He'll get there one day. Actually, yeah, I was kind of like sort of list building for Sigmar 4.0 right now. Just to see, like, with my collection, not necessarily thinking through the list. The only one I'm trying on is Daughters of Cain, obviously. But the only army that I think I might need to paint more for is my Fire Slayers, because I had Gotrek in that list.
Yeah.
But really, it's like I need to get like one more Magma Droth and paint it up, and I'll be back up to full strength. Because I just like having,
I was looking at like I've got a bunch of Stormcast, and I'm like, as I'm like putting stuff up and everything, and I'm like, I'm going through the index and kind of seeing what I have that like A is not even in the index anymore, and B like am I ever going to play this many of one single unit?
My 30,
probably not.
Yeah, my 30 Liberators.
I could give away literally like 3 armies of Stormcast at this point,
Yeah, I have that big block of 30 Liberators, and I played one game with it because I forget there was some crazy shenanigans rule in early 2. And I had them, so I'm like, oh yeah, let me do it. Like, you'll never kill this huge blob of models, but that's in the past. Good, but yeah, that space looks good. I always like a nice clean hobby space, and yours is looking nice. I know that space well, and I can't wait to visit it.
Yep.
For me, I am working on my Tale of Four Warlords as usual. Actually, I'm hoping. To be fair, it's been a little bit of laziness this week because I just get tired after the day, and I don't feel like painting that much. But I'm on the last couple bits of these Peg Knights I'm working on because I'd like to get those done so I can start just hammering out. And then I'm going to take the advice you gave me, and I'm just going to build everything that I need for that Tale of Four Warlords. So it's and I'll just put it in a case, and I'll pull it out whenever I need to paint it for the commitments, and then see what I have left to see about what to do with it if I want to keep it or not. That way I can at least play a game with it, like you said.
Right.
And it's not just because now, especially too, if I look to the left, I have that Bretonnian box full of my Bretonnian stuff to build. Now there's a Skaventide box underneath of it, which part of me wants to just paint some Skaven. Like, it's like, like I don't want to get rid of these models, but also it's like, I'm trying to war with myself. Do I want to get rid of these models because I just don't want to have a backlog? Or do I want to get rid of these models because I truly don't feel like painting all of them? Like,
well, let's say you got like a spearhead event somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. You want to play some spearhead. Maybe you don't want to take your Daughters of Cain for a change. You want to do something else. You can do the Skaven. You can.
And they're gorgeous sculpts, so yeah, it's.
I have seen that painted up, and it is really nice. They're really great models.
I also won't lie. I've had the thought of taking them and making a Skaven army for Old World.
Yeah,
that's a little bit more exciting for me than Skaven and Age of Sigmar, just from nostalgia feeling, like just games I've played. So.
Oh yeah.
So
I thought about that myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also have this random Hedonites Vanguard box that I don't know what to do with, but it's there.
Yeah.
That might. We're doing Mordheim at the barn right now at the club days, and the archers, the human archers from Slanesh.
Yeah.
Could be. I've seen people do some good Araby conversions with them. So that's a possibility.
Bliss barbs, correct?
Yeah, the Bliss barbs. Yep. And speaking of Mordheim, my actual hobby that I did this week, I didn't realize I had this. I think it's Enir the Twilight Blade. He's a Mordheim model. I have him on screen now. I put him on Twitter. Sorry, Neil, I forgot to share him I don't know if I shared him in the chat, but I had him. He had a kit bashed bow and little crown on his waist because for the longest time he was my Alathanar. Because he looked cool. He stood out. He was different. I think I picked him up at the local hobby shop up at Norm's a long time ago. I didn't know it was Mordheim. It probably came in a Mordheim blister. I was probably when I was too young to understand. So I was like, oh, he's a cool high elf. So he's my Alathanar for a while until I got Alathanar. Then he's just been sitting in my box. He's been rebased with the army left and right. So I finally pulled him out since we're playing Mordheim, and I realized who he was. Took off the kit bash bits, which thankfully was just on with super glue. It was very easy cleanup. Fresh coat of paint on some parts of him. Not his face. For some reason, I did his face and his hair incredibly well. I don't know, it's like one of those happy accidents.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let me just redo the boots. Let me I left the silver line. Let me read just some touch-ups, and I'm really happy with him. Now he's in the Mordheim case where he belongs, and he looks cleaner than he ever has, so...
It's awesome.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I played a couple of Age of Sigmar games for my hobby as well, which that's kind of more the main topic of the show. So I'll wait to say more about that later.
Well, I mean, truth be told, that's about it. I guess I should say this before we get into the main topic. I've been slowly, after our chat last week with goals, I still don't really fully have a goal in mind. But my brain's thinking about goals. That's what that Skaven thing's in my head now. For maybe an old world Skaven army, or the mojo's coming back. It feels like the drive to really do something. It's gonna be harder to not want to paint all these Bretonnians right away, and I might and just not tell you guys and just secretly do. And just be like, hey, look, I'm done again. I'm done.
Right.
But that drive's coming back, which feels really good. Which is also sad because this weekend is the U.S. Open Tacoma, which I'm normally at. I had to pull out of because the new job has more demands, and I wanted to really solidify those demands and responsibilities before I left for a week to go play Warhammer.
Sure.
So, so we'll see. But the feeling's coming back. I want to be in my hobby space more. I want to put effort into things. So that's been exciting as opposed to just kind of languishing. And then part of it's because probably the new edition's out, so. There's excitement around me. People are talking about it more.
Yeah.
But, Age of Sigmar 4.0. So, you've had a couple games. I've had a portion of one game.
Wow. So you get through the whole thing, huh?
Well, not from lack of trying. I was playing... I'll probably talk about I'll talk about my game first, and then talk about experiences just anecdotally throughout.
Yeah.
But we got through half a round, and then he had a call. He had a little personal matter he had to immediately attend to, so he had to go. So it wasn't. So we called it a draw.
Yeah.
But yes, but there was some key aspects even without completing a game or really even completing a full round. I feel like I got over my biggest hurdle of it, which was the what the hell do I do moments that always happen with a new edition. So that in and of itself is a win for me. So probably what would be best, Neil, is why don't you start talking about, tell us about your games or your experiences, and maybe as something sparks in my brain of the little bit I've had, I can jump in with little anecdotes that I have. But I'm excited. I did not dislike the things I was doing in that, other than battle tactics, but whatever.
Right. So yeah, I kind of went through a similar phase. I think everybody does with a new edition or a new game, where you just kind of start looking down. Okay, so I have my models here. Now what? Even the deployment phase is kind of okay, so we do this, we do that, just trying to relearn the order of things and how things work. And once you do it once, you realize it's not that far off the cuff of what you're actually used to.
For the general concept, yeah, it's
right. Things are a little bit different. You got to familiarize yourself with those differences. For me, I was playing Karajan Overlords for both games. I really wanted to kind of, and I'm going to try and, for a nice long time here, just play Karajan. Just play
Yep.
Karajan, really get a good feel for him. I think there's going to be some massive difficulties with that, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, so like you deploy up in the sky now, and so figuring out how to deploy, and only excuse me, only so many things can go in the boat. Only 3 units can go in an ironclad, right? Okay, but you got 4 units in a regiment, and the whole regiment can deploy up in the skies if it's in the boat, right? So
Right.
like, can I put the one guy on the ground and the other 3 guys in the boat and be up here? I guess you can.
Can you null deploy with KO now?
Can you what?
Null deploy? Like, or do you have to have
Just
something on the ground?
Just with one regiment and one boat.
Okay.
So yeah. So yes. Especially if you were able to fit everything into that. So yeah, you actually could. But yeah, so you get those kind of things down, and then I think the games themselves, the first game I played went 5 rounds.
Nice.
And literally it wound up being a 35-35 draw.
Dang,
because
okay.
I did something stupid. So otherwise I win by a point, So lesson learned there in the first game. But the first game really was more for just kind of getting a feel for the rules and getting everything down. I was playing a great opponent, playing John DeColos. And, he's very good at explaining rules. He'd already had about 4 or 5 games himself under his belt.
That's good, yeah.
It wasn't just both of us floundering through a game. So if you can, find somebody who's had a couple before,
that's the best.
To ease yourself in. That's really good.
I do have to say it was really weird. Cause whenever we were going to deploy for me and Alex, we're working through it. I'm looking at the core rules and it just says, "Oh, just deploy your models." And I was just like, "Wait a second, who goes first?" Oh, let's check the scenario. And it says attacker defender. Okay, so getting used to that module style rule setup. I do like the module style. I this is not a poo-pooing on it, but then I had to go to the advanced rules to go like, oh, okay, so this is the actual flow to make sure we're doing it right. Roll off, attacker, defender, deploy, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, that makes sense, but yeah, it's like I almost feel like what I need to do is just read through the core rules before my next game fully. Like I've skimmed them, but like read through them fully. Okay, there's a basic outline, treat it as such, and then when I go to the first game, just look at the advanced rules, because I know how everything works in the core rules, more or less. It's the advanced rules, I think, where it's going to be the nuance of, like, the orders and such.
Yeah, and what was funny to me is it's like I was reading through, it's like, okay, so you roll off, and the person who wins the roll-off sets up the board, right?
Yeah.
And then the opponent chooses the side and deploys first. I was like, what? So, like, if I win the roll-off, I just deploy terrain? Like, really?
Well,
in the general's handbook, that's not how it goes.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's not...
So, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff if you go back and you read the core rules, then you try to play a game, you got to make sure that, you understand that some of that stuff does not apply to, like, match play scenarios. So.
Well, there's match play, then there's tournament play. Like, match play, we can see it, like, Neil, I want to play a match play game with you. That's just so we bring a balanced list and we're kind of within the same scope. Then the tournament rules is going to be like, okay, here's the true nuance to make sure it's as balanced and as fair as possible, because the board's going to be preset. That's what a tournament usually does.
Yep. So we got deployed. What's interesting about the game now, I mean, if I'm comparing 4th so far to 3rd, it's not even in the same stratosphere of fun. I mean, I love the rule set for this way more than 3rd. It feels less convoluted. It does feel like people use the term skill expression.
Yeah.
Like your knowledge of the rules and how the rules can affect your army and what you can do with the rules will lead you to victories way more than happenstance or dice or whatever.
Yeah, the interesting thing with that, even, because while Alex and I were deploying and setting up and walking through the first turn, because my worry was getting used to the flow of, I've done my stuff, and I wait, do you have anything? Like right. that flow actually felt not too hard to pick up pretty quickly. Like, it's like, okay, I do my stuff, you do your stuff. I do my stuff, you do your stuff. But what's catching off guard is, like, I'm moving up, and like he's talking about countercharging, and then we got into that debate. And it's like, well, I'm probably gonna take. I had Doomfire's pressing his right flank essentially, to take some shots, and he was like. He's like, oh, well, I could just countercharge him. I was like, yeah, but I brought these here because they're longer bases. My goal or intention would be to charge as many of your stuff with this unit that I'm willing to lose. He's like, why would you do that? I'm like, because you can't countercharge after the fact. So I can do that, pin you in. I know where you're staying, and then get the big unit of Witch Elves that I wanted in that's got its buffs up to try and take out that your threatening unit. It was kind of like like we were back and forth on that in a lot of ways. And then my left side, I was moving up. He's like, oh, well, you can charge my gnaw hole back here and probably take this objective off me. And I was like, I completely forgot I can charge those.
Yeah. I had a moment where, I brought in some bubble boys. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure that they're 3 inches outside of this big block of grave guard, and whatever. I'm going to mince to pieces, and then I'm good. And I completely forgot about countercharge. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to countercharge you now. So they're in.
Yeah. You're like,
oh shit. Okay. Well, that was all for naught. I should just went in there. And the thing is too, is if you're going to get countercharged, then you might as well go into combat, because then they can't move as far. Right.
So I really think there's going to be a lot, at least for Daughters of Cain, a big method of taking that big unit, or taking that cheap unit that has a big footprint, and just pinning in as much as I can.
Yeah.
To just make sure I can't get countercharged. But like, so then the countercharging of spells and terrain and all that sort of stuff is just going to be like, that's going to be a really clutch thing to use too. But I do like it. It's just opening up another avenue of thought during the game.
Yeah, I still don't have a good feel for the battle tactics and everything. I do like this version of battle tactics better. It's going to take some time to actually play games and know what the battle tactics are. Seems like there's just less of them, right? So at some point it's making for a less interesting game because of the amount of battle tactics. You're going to just keep doing the same things over and over and over again. Different games.
That's my biggest concern. Like I will have the army I like to play with. You'll have the army you like to play, and sure, the scenario will change, but let's be honest, the scenario just makes us deploy different, and then we just go after objectives. That's what a scenario is, like, long and short of it. It'll just look slightly different, but I'm probably going to get down to the part where I'm like, okay, I'll do seize the center round 2. I need to do attack on 2 fronts round 3. Like, I'll have my set order, and to be fair, that will get old fast. Now I know we'll get GHB changes and stuff like that, but I'm not.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if you played with the GHB like seasonal rules. We did not for those 2 games.
We were intending to, but it never came up within our.
Yeah.
It
just felt like it was going to be too much to learn the base rules for us, so I just left out that kind of stuff, the honor guards and all that kind of junk. So
there was the biggest moment, I think, for me. Like I said, getting over this was the biggest hurdle, personally. Like, we deployed, we'd had everything. I was a 3-drop, he was a 2-drop, because I haven't figured out I think I know how I want to get to a 2-drop, but we're deployed, all lined up. He null deployed some of his stuff, because Skaven can do that. And he's like, okay, you can go first. And I looked down, and I had my General's Handbook cards, I had my Daughters of Cain cards, I had my book over here, everything was laid out. And it was a moment of, like, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah,
because I just don't know where to look first, and then it took a little bit, but it's like, all right, stop. All right, we're in the hero phase, so let me try and cast a spell. I had a little Medusa there. Wouldn't you know it, I rolled double 1s on my first cast. took 2 mortal wounds, and then I was like, okay, let me do the prayers, which I do like that you declare the prayer, you try to roll it, and then you can bank the points instead. Because my first one I rolled a 3, and I need at least a 4 in all of the prayers I have. It's like, okay, just bank those. And then next one I rolled a 5. I'm like, I'm just going to bank them again, because we're not in combat yet. So but like, step by step, like, let me do that. Okay, let me do my Doomfire Warlocks now. Okay, all the casting's done. And after that, I'm like, okay, I know how to move. I know how to, shoot. It's just, I'll have to make those mistakes. Like, we're all going to make about the countercharge, countershoot, whatever it is. So, but like, I got over that first hump, which to me was the biggest hurdle. Like, now, if he's like, I want to play a game, I'm like, yeah, we'll get through it, no problem. Like, zero stress.
Just kind of rounded back to, like, battle tactics being kind of boring and stuff like that, if like in the long term. But I don't know. The game offers so many opportunities to lose a tactic based on counter charges, based on summoning manifestations, blocking out objectives.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many ways to lose a battle tactic now that you think you're going to get very easily. It's pretty crazy. So I think that will eliminate a little bit of that feeling of it being the same thing every time you play a game, because you're going to affect those battle tactics differently every game.
Yeah.
But again, you're going to be shooting for the same things, and at some level, it's going to be nice because you're going to feel pretty confident at some point about how all of it works. At least for me, I don't have to kind of keep figuring out new things, new battle tactics every 5 seconds. So
Right.
that's going to be part of it.
It will. I mean, it's still a long ways off, because even just from the little bit I played last night, I'm going, okay, I want to change my list a little bit. So like that changing of the list is going to change that probably order of priority and how I do it too. So, and the play style that I'm going to try to attempt to not be hyper aggressive.
Yes. Yeah, it's so I mean, overall, like, my thoughts on the game are, you're much more interactive in your opponent's turn now,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. So it's not like I can just go, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom, just move all your stuff, I'll be back. Like, you can still do that, but you're going to delay the game because you need to be there. You're playing in your opponent's game,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice because you feel like in your 3 hours you're playing for 3 hours. You're not just your turn's going by like that, and somebody else is taking an hour.
Yeah.
So you're at least in the game. I like the tactical feel of the game a whole lot more. I like the simplicity. I think bravery. Thank God, bravery's gone. Don't gotta
Yeah.
worry about it
Yeah.
anymore.
Good riddance. That's fine.
Not missing it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So the control and everything for the objectives has been interesting. The smaller objectives is better, I feel like, especially on the smaller map that we got in Age of Sigmar 3. So
Yeah. Yeah. I like the smaller ones too, because there's so many times when I'd see a map. People bring those nice big circles to make it easier when you're playing a game.
yeah,
And like, yeah, just how many times they would just overlap in weird ways. I'm just like, that feels a lot.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on to some things that I think there's really only one thing about it that I don't like, and honestly, it's not that I even don't like it. I do like it, and this manifestations, right? I do like manifestations. I do like that they're free. I don't think they have to be point costed. What I think they have to be is a higher casting cost, and I mean significantly higher. I mean very, very challenging to cast these things. Because if you're looking at, and I'm reading across the internet, some people's games, there's manifestations all around. People are using manifestations to block out, screen, doing all
I
these
would say,
things. They're essentially free units, right?
yeah.
And I'm okay with you having free units, but please make it hard to cast and easier to get rid of because they're free.
Well,
So it shouldn't be like a hard thing to get rid
I,
of.
I and here's the thing too. Like, yeah, when I've looked at my stuff, like I have my one prayer one. That's just like a defensive buff I can put up. But I looked at the big snake and especially the big snake for Daughter's Cane. And I look at that as like, oh, it's a hero killer. I'm like, I don't care what it does. I care that it's a big base, and I'll cast it,
Right.
and I'll be like, go charge in and just get in the way. That's all I want you to do. I'll recast
Not-
it later.
Don't even do that. Just put it in the way. And remember, you
Sure.
can't go within 3 inches of that in a spell because it has a combat range.
Oh, it sure does have a combat range, yeah.
So whatever the base size is, add 3 inches all around it.
And that thing's on a bigger base.
Yeah. Now imagine you cast a 8 cast. What's the Gur one? The big snake.
The Incarnate.
The Incarnate.
Yeah.
That's a huge base.
That's a
Now
huge-
imagine 3 inches around that. And if you do dispel it on an 8+, which by the way is hard to do with a basic wizard, it just takes 6 damage. It's got 12 wounds. You got to do that twice to get rid of it. And oh, by the way, they're just going to recast it again.
Right.
So
There-
if you're playing Caradron Overlords, who has no access to manifestations,
Yeah.
you are way on the back foot. And that's the one thing where I'm like, you just have to make it harder to do those things. Make somebody actually have to make a choice. Like, oh, do I want to do a regular cast, or do I want to take a risk and try to cast this manifestation because the casting level's high? But if you've got a +1 caster, forget about it. You're getting it out there every time.
Yeah, I would like to see with that, let's set the incarnate aside for a second, because that different. That's a different. I think that's a different subject in itself because of how different it is. I wouldn't mind seeing them harder to cast because they're big important spells, but I would want them to be equally hard to get rid of. But granted, there's things like, okay, Corn. What's Corn do? They should have something that just can auto dispel at least one. Their blood ties. KO should have something too, since they're not a casting army. That's just a lack of rules, I think, in the army to deal with them. Not saying that you should be able to get rid of all of them as a KO player, but you should be able to get a chance to. I could probably get rid of one or two throughout the match. That'd probably feel pretty good.
Well, the problem is a lot of people are 3, 4, 5 manifestations floating around on top of their armies. I feel like the armies are fairly well balanced.
I think they're only 3. I think each lore is only 3. Okay, yes. Geminids are 2 models, so it's only 3, but you could,
Sure. So, I don't know if there's a way to get more than the 3 out there or not, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're talking about both sides throwing them out there, you're gonna have 6 out there, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of extra on a battlefield that was shrunk in the first place. Well, if the battlefield was bigger, I have less of a problem with it, but it's just not the case.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I have a feeling just from everything I've seen, and even last night when Alex and I, we were having dinner before we started playing, and I said, "Oh, what manifestation lore did you bring?" And he's just like, "It's like I don't want to pay the points." And from his time, I was like, "Oh, they're free." Yeah. He's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, here's how it works." He's like, "No way!" So we started looking at things. He's like, "Do you have an incarnate?" I'm like, "I could let you borrow one tonight, my Kane one," but he was like immediately. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take this one because it just looks too good." And even he, as he's saying it, he's like, "That needs to be adjusted." It feels way too oppressive.
Yeah. For free, it's like, and again, I'm okay with them being free, but make them hard to cast. So if you could potentially waste a turn trying to cast it.
In all honesty, I think the incarnate should not be an endless should not be a manifestation. It should be something like a Gotrek. Something that can go into make it the first unit that can literally go into any army that costs points and just has a stat profile.
Yeah. The problem you get with that though is if you do that, it's the same problem that the incarnate had in last edition, which if it's too good, it's in everybody's list, right?
Fair.
And if it's not good enough, it's not in anybody's list. So
that's fair. That's
I'm fine with it being what it is. Just make it hard to cast. It's an 8, so make it a 9 to cast and make it a 6 for me to get rid of it. And still only does 6 damage if it's a 6, right? But it's the 6 damage. I can potentially get rid of that thing. It's free anyway. It's not like you're taking a hit against your army. It's something that I'm doing to try and get rid of the spell, and I'm wasting my resources to do.
I wonder if it's something where it's just like, to cast this, you have to be a level 2 wizard, and it takes both your casts per turn to cast it.
Yeah.
If you're a techless and he has a 4 cast, sacrifice 2 you're casting to get it out there. Maybe type thing. Just that's spitballing, but
whatever the fix is, I believe it needs to be fixed. And if I was running a tournament, and I know it's early days,
sure,
and I know a lot of people say, and I've said, like with Old World and everything, let's play the rules. Let's play the rules the way they're meant to be played, this and that. But I think they're a serious problem. And if I was running a tournament, that would be a module I would throw out. No manifestations. Get them out of here. They're free anyway, right? So you're not losing anything in your army. We're not playing with those.
That's fair. And there's a good amount of events going on this weekend. So the U.S. Open Tacoma's going on, obviously. Out in Pittsburgh, sadly, I was unable to join. I'm going to be visiting a friend who's in town later tonight. But there's the, I think it's Grugny's Revenge or something. Grimny's something. The Pittsburgh Fabricators Forge, where we usually play, they're having an event this weekend too. But even though like you and I both kind of look at that and be like, these might be a problem, I'm curious to see how those go, because maybe there's something we're missing, or that maybe there's an easier way to deal with it, and maybe 1 or 2 armies just suck at dealing with it, which does suck. But because I mean, truth be told, I guess KO, like, you see the incarnate, just shoot the hell out of it, I guess.
Well, the problem is if you're shooting the hell out of that, your shooting isn't as good anymore.
Yeah.
And so you're wasting your time shooting that instead of this huge army that's in front of you, and your stuff is so many points that it's just like, well, you got me to target this thing, and oh, by the way, It's that same feel bad.
Yeah,
Like
that's fair.
I just wasted all this time to get rid of it, and you're just summoning it right back for nothing.
I have a feeling that we'll see some sort of adjustment within the space of manifestations. I'm like you. I don't know if they need to cost points. I don't think they do, but yes, I think there'll be some. I think there'll be, if there is much of an issue that you and I can see it potentially, then I have a feeling people will break it hard real quick to the point they'll go, okay, let's take a step back and re-examine this. Maybe this was a darling we were supposed to kill and we just didn't.
Right.
But it is what it is. But that, it's not a gripe, because also I do like the fact that, like, I would very rarely use any of that stuff in my Daughters of Cain last time. I would occasionally bring like the heart thing, but now I just have access to it, and it feels good having access to play with my models that I hardly ever use.
Yeah, I don't want to poo-poo it to the point where people don't understand that. I like them too, and I like to play with them too. And I think the idea of a spell moving around on the battlefield is awesome, but there has to be constraints or a level of difficulty. I feel like to make it happen.
Yeah, it's the proud nail of the game at the moment, from what we see.
Yeah, but, and that's really the only thing that I'm concerned about at the moment.
Yeah, I do. I'm curious. I know I've heard some things like on Warhammer Weekly, some reservations about the underdog mechanic. Truth be told, I like it, but I'm not going to be swinging away on top tables, where I think that the problems of what they kind of brought up will arise. About the forcing yourself into the underdog and then kind of tabling your opponent. Like, if me and you, if we had a game, we're not doing that level of play. So, one of us becomes the underdog. It's like, ooh, that's exciting, and keeps the other person in a little bit better. So
that's what it did for me in my first game. I was losing hard the first 2 turns and slowly crawled my way back to where I could have won in turn 5 by a point, by 1 point. Now, if you're, a Team America player and of that level, I'm sure it might be a problem, but for me, it feels okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing too, because like a lot of the worry coming into this, and I believe we've talked about it too, is how much of this was written for like those hyper competitive players, because like they're the vocal minority. The vocal minority is either the hyper competitive people or the people that randomly complain. I do feel GW is better at ignoring the people that complain just for complaining's sake. But they will take the people who are hyper competitive, I don't want to say hyper competitive, higher competitive play into account for balancing the game. And that was the worry, that was going to be too focused on that. And maybe in some aspects it is, but I don't feel it's all the way there. That's not the pure focus, because I feel like this game might be written more like, there's things written in mind for like you, like us, the mid-table heroes. Who are there to have a good game, 2 and 3, 3 and 2 at best.
With it, just even myself, but I don't think it have to be. It just has to be tweaked. It doesn't have. It's not like a big deal.
Right. Yeah. I still remember too. Like I was in the, because like right now the fun part is like I was in the Daughters of Cain WhatsApp chat, like back when like the points dropped and then we got the indexes dropped. So like that chat was popping off and we're all posting our lists and we're all like offering suggestions, critiquing. But at the end of the day, we were all even still going. It's like, yeah, but it looks cool. Tell us how it goes. Tell us what you think, because we don't know what it's going to be. We know what we think it's going to be. Like, so I'm taking a list that maybe some people would be like, it's not good, but there are also those same people who are like, well, let me know how it goes, because maybe there's some magic in there that you'll find. And I like that aspect of it, that nothing feels solved right now. But yeah, but even still, like there's those things that you said that, like, even though like I see this could be an issue potentially, but even points, like the biggest complaint I see in those WhatsApps is like, I'm not taking the Avatar of Cain. It's 190 points. I'm like, I don't care. Points will change. I'm gonna play it. It looks cool.
Right.
Yeah. Like these, there's no major tweaks from what I'm feeling. The most major tweak I think would be maybe in the realm of manifestation. I don't know what that is, if it would even happen, because maybe tweaking somewhere else will adjust that.
Yeah. The War Scrolls, the Universal Special Rules, I feel are all very interesting and play very well. The anti-infantry, the anti-cavalry, all that kind of stuff. Shoot and combat makes things interesting as well. Like my Caradron used to just unload a full salvo in my turn, right? That's not happening anymore, so you got to think about that. So push through is another one that I think good players are going to take a lot of advantage of. But
You mentioned something about doing push through on a frigate.
yes.
Tell me
Okay.
about this, please.
So the great thing about Caradron Overlords, and they are expensive for what they do, but the mechanic they have on their boats is applies anytime the boat makes a move action. Push through has a keyword move.
Yep.
Charge has a keyword move. Retreat has a keyword move. So if I have, I don't know, 2 units of 6 bubble boys, and we charge in, they jump out. I have to charge in with the frigate. The frigate goes in, then I place the 2 units of bubble boys next within 6 inches of the boat.
Yep.
Down there, they're in combat now. All right, bop. They get first strike. They hit. Maybe we get hit back a little bit. Then the boat pushes through. The boat pushes through, picks up those guys. Maybe you get to the back of the unit, and then you put those guys within 6 inches of the boat. They don't have to be next to the unit. They can be behind the boat. So now you've just leapfrogged a unit all the way over top. And so that 5-point objective that you thought was very safe, now I'm sitting on it at the end of the turn.
What? Yeah, and that feels very KO-ish.
Right.
Like that.
So
that
that's why they are the points they are. That's, they don't get access to manifestations. There's a lot of crazy movement shenanigans KO can get off, but they're also very fragile.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting time with those things. So and I'm sure it's not just KO that can take advantage of that as well. So the counter charge, you could counter charge with the boat, pick them up, move them, counter charge in an opponent's turn with a frigate, picking up, a bunch of bubbles over here. Boom! Now they're first striking in your opponent's turn. Right. It's it's a lot of counterplay there. So interesting stuff. So
I say that's kind of exciting. Like, listen, I'm focusing on Daughters of Cain right now, but that makes me want to kind of look at the KO a little bit.
Yeah. So that's what you have to think about is not just what you can do in your turn, but what can you do and what combos can you achieve in your opponent's turn as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to really that's going to be the hard learning curve for a lot of people, I think, as they get into it.
Yeah, because the biggest combo in my opponent's phase that I see that I want to do so badly is especially do my prayer in your turn, take the -1, but I've already banked points. All of a sudden, this big juicy block of witch elves that looks like I just left out in the open. Yeah, you want to charge them? Great. I'm gonna get this prayer off on a 10 because I have all these points banked off, even with the -1. And all of a sudden, they count as turn 5, so I have +1 run, +1 charge, +1 hit, +1 wound, +1 attack.
Right.
Oh, and if you don't charge them, I'm gonna counter charge you and get an extra attack. But if you do charge them, I'll counter charge with this extra Melusai here, and if I roll an 8+, you'll be striking last. So. It's just oh, I see what your plan is, and I've made it incredibly difficult for you. It's exciting, and those are going to be everywhere, and that's going to be really cool.
Yep. So there's going to be a lot of learning curve for figuring out other people's armies. You're gonna be like, oh, I can do all this cool stuff, and then you're gonna find out what other people's armies can do.
Oh shit. Yeah. Actually, I had that moment in the movement, or actually in the hero phase. Skaven. All Skaven armies can move a unit, a normal move, at the end of the hero phase. I was just like, that's so powerful. They're not quick, but I was just like, oh my god, if I'm playing Skaven, I have to plan for that mentally. Yeah. It's like where would they want to go? Because I was like, but yeah, although that's exciting. I've, to be fair, a lot of people are doing review shows of all the indexes and all that sort of stuff. I've not really done anything other than Daughters of Cain to get people's thoughts, because I kind of want to walk into games and go and just get hit in the face. You can do what? That's so cool. Let's see it. Yeah. But I'm like you. I'm liking everything I've seen so far from this game, and I've watched a few battle reports too, just to kind of help. Mostly the flow. I was mostly worried about the flow, but the flow feels okay already.
There is a lot more, I think, risk for the gotcha moment in this edition.
Sure.
But I think the gotcha moment is kind of part of this edition. So you kind of do have to know what your opponent's capable of. I can only tell, I can tell you that whenever this boat makes a move, I'm going to pick up my bubbles. Okay. And you'll go, okay, so that's what it does.
But I don't know what all your moves are.
all of the things that I could possibly do with that. And when I do it, you're going to be like, oh, well, I didn't know you could do that. You know?
But
And it's gonna, and there's a moment where you're gonna be like, oh well, shit, you know, if I'd have known you could also do that, you know. But it's just like I don't want to tell you exactly what my strategy is going to be either, you know. I just want to tell you what my rule is, you know.
Yeah, that's the skill expression coming out. Yeah,
right.
Which
right.
I mean, we see that's going to be forever a fine line, because what I do like about that with that skill expressions is like the one thing I didn't like about third is it started feeling solved to like an extreme level. Whereas this, like you said, like I think we'll still solve some things here in fourth. Like I think battle tactics you'll kind of get solved based upon your army you're playing. You'll know what your strategy is for that, but other strategies won't feel fully solved. Like I like that. I like that skill expression, even though there's gonna be lots of moments where I'm gonna get smacked in the face, and it might even be a year from now I get smacked in the face from an army. Oh, I never played Tzeentch before, and all of a sudden like you can do what? Okay, cool.
Right.
You just have to roll with it, I suppose, because heck, it happens in old world too, you know, like just things are gonna catch you off guard, and you have to just be willing to roll with it.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen for the first 6 months to a year for most people. You know, if you're playing a lot of different armies, if you're playing your buddy who's got the same army and you guys are playing the same army day after day, yeah, that's not going to become as much of an issue. But
right.
You go to a tournament, you're playing a bunch of people like you haven't played before, you're going to run into it. Just know that it's kind of part of the deal. The more information you arm yourself with, the less it's going to happen. So
right. Well, the key thing is, I think for everybody right now at the early stages, just advice would be kind of like what you and I are doing, Neil. Yeah. Focus on knowing your army.
Yeah.
100%. Focus. Yeah, you want to make sure you play your army right and understand your basics. So that'll give you at least half of what the game is for everybody. And then and then eventually you'll learn the rest, whether you're researching it or playing against it or playing with it. That's going to be the exciting time. So just really focus on your army and how to play your army within this new game. Because to be fair, I haven't even looked at push through yet for any of my stuff yet.
Yeah, I didn't
not even considered it.
Actually, in the two games, and then I started thinking about stuff as I got back. It's like, oh.
Yeah. So now that I said, even though I haven't really played a full game yet, I'm already looking at how I can tweak my list a little bit. You've played a couple games. What kind of list are you running right now, and are you happy with it and want to stick with that style list for KO specific? Yeah.
Well, I started out playing with the Ironclad, and just want to see what it could do.
Yeah.
And if it spikes, it still feels like an Ironclad.
Cool.
But I think with KO, Frigate is almost mandatory at this point because of the first strike opportunities. You want to stack your rules as best you can to protect your troops, and in KO, they're made of glass. You got 4+ armor save, 2 wound bubble boys in a unit of 6 of them, 12 wounds. That is excessively easy to chew through.
Yeah.
So, if you can't figure out a way to keep that army alive and those bubbles pop, if you're playing bubbles,
right.
You're done real fast. And that was my second game. I lost 50-11 in that second game. So now I was playing Idneth Deepkin, and it feels like there's some armies that are just going to be like a hard stop. This is going to be tough. This is going to be upward sledding. First round to come, first battle round, everything's -1 to be hit, shooting and combat. So what do I want to do? I want to shoot you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like everything's -1 to hit. And then, next round they're running and charging, all their stuff flies. So I can't drop bombs on them. It's just a lot of stuff that nullifies my rules. So that was a hard, especially second game to play. So, but I'll do some things different. That game too, there's an incarnate running around, wound up coming down, blocking me out from getting my, my objective just by it being there, so it didn't have to really do anything else. So it was like, I felt like his army versus my army was pretty well balanced, but then when you throw in that incarnate, which feels like it should be an extra 200 points on top of it.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about it, at least not very well. It got pretty tough.
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to have those bad matchups. I hope the incarnate isn't always a bad matchup for you per se with the KO, but you got Idoneth too. Like the only times I've ever really solved an Idoneth army as far as my Daughter's Cane goes is when I brought Marathi, because I can be like, okay, Shadow Queen, go get in the way and kill that king. You know, like other than that, I was like, I just get run over because they just too much damage too quick. But that's fine. I don't mind uphill battles because they make it fun, especially if you can eke out a win. But
just happens that we have a lot of Idoneth players in my local area, and so I'm going to have to really work hard to figure out a way around this kind of stuff. So that's fine. We'll do it.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. Like for me, my biggest thing, because I took my standard double cauldron witch elf type build list. I still kind of want to replace my remaining metal witch elves that I have in the Daughter's Cain army with some plastic. So that might be something I do. But just in general, I keep thinking like, okay, I really want to make like a list work, not with Morathi Cain in it. Like I'll run lists with her, but I want to make a list where I have, a cauldron or two, witch elves, Kanarai, Doomfires, Melusa. I want to be able to take everything that I like, every style, like style, and just figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
Without running out of points.
Without chaff. Yeah.
Right, that's the thing. Yeah, well, okay, if I take two big blocks of witch elves and okay, are my Kanarai chaff or my Doomfire's chaff? So I'm trying to figure that out. The problem is when I start doing it that way, I'm not going to be a 2-drop. So it's like I have to, which is fine. Then I'll just plan to probably not have control of that first round, which is,
right.
I did that in the past. So that's kind of like where I'm looking. Like, okay, I like my current play style. It's been fine, but man, I just see the possibilities and the ability to bring a bunch of different things across the whole army, and it could synergize with itself. And that's exciting for me. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Mixed arms is kind of the way to go a little bit as well. So like you have to have different things to deal with different things. So if you're all one thing and you're all X and Y is, you're all cavalry and you run into an army that has anti-cavalry.
Yeah. Uh-oh. The cavalry was good until this moment.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But like I said, that's the fun, like list building kind of throughout the days back on the menu for me. For not just old world. So back on the menu for Daughter's Cain, see what we can do. But,
yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, any closing thoughts for you, Neil, on Age of Sigmar 4.0?
No, other than I think it's awesome. I can't wait to get more games in. As I get more games in as well, I should have sent you pictures. I did have pictures of those games. I should have done that. But so next podcast, maybe we'll get some more games in and let you guys know how it's going. So with the old KO and the struggle uphill.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, I've not even played a full game, and I'm enjoying it, which I'm thrilled beyond belief. Because like I said, I was overly worried coming into it that things would be in a way that I didn't enjoy. But I said outside of that, it's really just the one thing of battle tactics aren't my favorite thing, but I'll still use them, so it's not a big deal. But I'm excited for more games, and I want to get a game in here soon. Alex, since he had to leave, we called it a draw. And I said, but you owe me a game. We need to see how we're going to do. So he's like, yeah, we'll do that, no problem. And he's tackling the same sort of method. He's going Skaven. He's just like, I'm focusing on Skaven right now, painting up his new Skaven. He'll probably branch out earlier because he's got his nice little Halfling Cities army he wants to figure out too. But like, I see a lot of people in our local area kind of just like, I'm gonna play this thing, I'm gonna figure it out, which will be fun for a little while as we figure stuff out off each other.
Yeah, I would say too. I know your local group isn't. Doesn't have a ton of Sigmar players. If I was
my weekly group.
Your weekly group.
Yeah.
Your weekly group. I would try to push this on them a little bit because it's different. It is much different than anything I think they may have played in the past, and I really enjoy it. So
I want to. There's still a couple of us there that will play, and there's no one there is like super opposed to it, other than one person doesn't even have a Sigmar army, which God bless you, Tom. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see, because everyone there technically does have a Sigmar army, because when we did the stuff going on, so they have an army, they could play it, and they will. But we'll get there when we get there. Like I think it's like me and Brad or me and Luke there at the club, we'll play games and people will see it and they'll be like, oh, okay, it's interesting, it's a little different. And, hopefully we can express the difference through our playing while they're playing other games too, and generate that interest.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, if you're out there and you're excited with Age of Sigmar 4.0, let us know in the comments. Hope you picked up your cards, your GHBs, your Skaven Tide. I hope you got all the stuff you wanted out of it. But yeah, next week, just as a quick heads up, I got some stuff going on Thursday and Friday. We should still be able to record, but if you don't see an episode, it means my timing was off. Don't be alarmed if you don't see an episode next week. Not a big deal, but just a quick heads up on there. But until next time, happy hobbying, stay Stormcast strong, and go play AoS 4.
Awesome.